Okay, well, I don't need to repeat myself with that then, do I?
No, but the important things. I like where your head's at.
The biggest priority. Did I explain cantaloupe and rock melon once again to people? Okay, well, welcome back, Erin, to a Conscious Mind conversation.
Yes, good to be back. How are you?
Fantastic. Living my best life and really genuinely not just like saying the words and faking it. Oh my gosh, I just noticed on the picture with these two beautiful flowers, I don't even know the name. To the left is a white spider. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Well,
You gonna do okay? Deep breath.
yes, all lives matter, including white spiders. And
Yes.
yes, so my days have been full of true, genuine gifts of clarity, gifts of wisdom, gifts of even. I've never had so many lilies in my life all blossom and be surrounding me in this beautiful lily smell. Summer is here, and so are the flowers. And I do not take anything for granted. I really am deeply appreciative of every single flower and just connections with incredible friends and just this work and the information. And yeah, it's a fantastic time to reflect on all of the lessons and experiences this year. I know, because I've studied Dolores Cannon, and part of her script is every life has a lesson and a purpose. And I just always think more than just one. There must be millions of lessons and millions
Hmm.
and zizzes of purposes of why. And I know that it must be so hard for the guides when I'm asking them these really broad questions, and they're having to try and narrow it down to what was the most significant purpose and what was the most significant lessons in those lifetimes. And we know that these lives that we're living now are packed, jam packed, full of all the karmic experiences that we either have to pay back or learn and grow from. And there's just so much richness in all of these experiences. And I'm so blessed and honored to be having this journey with so many true, authentic, genuine people who are truly of service to humanity. And I it just reminds me of this client I had the other day. I had a one-on-one conversation with her. Oh, she was gorgeous and she is just so fantastic, and she was saying how she's never worn a mask and she wears bright colored lipstick to try and show everyone her beautiful face and smile. And she was so cute and sassy, Erin. I can imagine you and her just being besties because
Oh, I love her already.
yeah. And it's interesting that they want me to talk about her now, which is all that she forgot who she is. And of course, we all forget who we are. That's part of the deal, right? We come here, have the veil, and try to live our best lives and be of service. And she is incredible. She is a real leader in her collective. She's a very advanced top dog, shall I say? Maybe not the best word to say top dog, but I don't know her position and her ranking, but I know she's an advisor and a guide. And so she's always been a problem solver, and she is really quick thinking. And she came here to this density and never felt right with the way of life that she was experiencing, and quite confused and disorientated to what the heck is going on, and why are these people so out of touch with love and out of touch with their feelings and their thoughts and each other, let alone themselves. And so what she did was she tried to remember who she was and feel qualified in who she was in her true thinking and bigger perspective by doing basically every degree under the sun because she felt that she was trying to seek validation of authority and leadership, even though she's not been able to do any jobs in the field she thinks she's wanting to do, she's always gone back to study and study and study, and she is like beyond overqualified for everything. And she is definitely a first waver, and she was just so delightful. But it broke my heart, Erin, because I could tap into truly what her responsibilities are here. Her husband is a different collective, and he's trying his best to evolve, but his density and his natural DNA and his natural collective has got that much more harder obstacle. You know, this is my first lifetime here. Even though I've got a walk-in who's had other lifetimes here, I can just have profound compassion for those who have had many lifetimes here, because it is extraordinary, all of the experiences that people collect. Anyway, but to have not the disadvantage but the extra challenge to be, say, a reptilian starseed, and to try to go against your own instincts, your own DNA, your own everything, to try and evolve at a faster rate than, say, most of your other collectives. It's a very extraordinary feat for those reptilian starseeds to be able to grow as fast as, say, like a Palladian or a Arcturian.
This touches my heart. I cannot even tell you. Like, I've cried listening to Kitty's son's story, hearing about what he'll be experiencing, what he's going through, and I'm just so proud, because it is a huge hurdle, and they just like the strength, the mental strength and stamina to take that, I don't know what's called, I guess, that extra burden of the density head on through this very tough experience that we're going through. So they have I don't want to say disadvantage, but they have a bigger hurdle to get through, but they're just head on taking it and doing so well. I've cried listening to his story, because it touches me. It's so beautiful, and I'm so proud. We can see, most of us can see who about what collective someone is from. Mega props. I mean, there are some fantastic starseeds from all different collectives serving their collective and doing a great job. It's just awesome.
Of course. Yeah, they definitely need profound respect and honor, because they've chosen very harder experiences. And I know all of the big advanced beings who do have reptilian starseeds in their families, whether it's their children or their partners, it's because you are those bigger light beings that you can take on that density and still have unconditional compassion and love for them. Of course, it can be very draining, and that's when we need to grow more and go and connect in with our teams more, and find our balance and neutral more, love ourselves more, so we're not reliant on them for anything, because they're so busy trying to grow themselves. They're so focused on growing themselves that they really are not capable, even if they're adults, to really be able to support anyone else, because truly they need to focus on themselves. If you haven't done your inner work, you trying to help everyone else, it's not really going to be as impactful as you hope. It is better to focus on yourself, heal yourself as much as you can, and be able to then guide people and lead people. And I think with the first waivers, they all knew they had to come for a mission, but they had to experience firsthand life to be able to grow from it, experience it, and then help others to release themselves from the density. But unfortunately, because they were so super sensitive to just the environment and the way of life, not all of them were able to overcome their traumatic childhoods. And so even those, it's tricky, because once you sort of start learning about spirituality and that everything is purposeful, and that our hard lessons in life were to create us to have those experiences to learn and grow from, then you sort of have that, okay, cool, I'm just going to release and accept everything that's ever happened to me as a purpose and a journey, and I've asked for it, for those lessons. Fantastic. So with our mentalities, we can have balance and acceptance and be at neutral for everything that's happened to us, and we're not harboring onto resentment or frustration or blame games or victim mode mentality. We just accept it neutrally. However, we can accidentally stumble to an advancement that we sort of shouldn't really be at, and so they often will trick people into re-feeling what they felt as younger children, to be able to address it that way. Because the inner child, while we think it's just, oh, that's just a word and that's part of our shadow work and stuff, the inner child, the actual child, the smaller version of ourselves, is still alive. In time, they're still living, and we can still feel them, just like we can feel parallel lives to some degree, and just like we can feel our soul families to some degree, and just like we can feel our subconsciouses and our higher selves to some degree, we can still feel our inner child, our actual physical child. If we could somehow, in some respects with these sessions, we can time travel, in terms of, I could get you under now, Erin, and I could take you back to that 6-year-old who was in the hallway at a preschool or a school, and who fumbled over her words and got embarrassed saying the wrong thing. I could take you in there. So technically, I'm time traveling with you back to talk to that little girl and say, you know, it's all okay. We all make mistakes. You're not a dum-dum. We love you, and you know, you don't need to be a bulldozer to promise yourself you'll never be wrong ever again, because you refuse to feel that way ever again. And so, because that little girl still lives, she's still there. And I think all of the versions of time, when Earth is completed and she is when the soul of Gaia is fully released, then I think the time period of the old Earth is still valid, and it's still the history of Earth. But at some point, when everyone's evacuated, the books or the accounts or the records of Earth will be sealed. And once that's all sealed and closed, then all of those versions and those timelines will all merge into one as being a big history. And so we can use these sessions to talk to Erin, that 6-year-old, and give it some love and inspiring and encouragement and all that fantastic stuff. And so while Erin, at the age of, how old are you now? 27?
Yeah. Am I on Botox or not? Because then my answer changes.
Are you allowed to buy this alcohol, little lady?
Yeah. Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say about 30 years ago.
Okay.
As an estimate.
Cute. Okay. Yeah. And so we, as Erin being the 26-year-old, 27-year-old, whatever you want to be today, you know, as you have that balance and respect, well, nothing's killed me. You know, my past is my past. I can't do anything about it. I can't change anything. It's just acceptance. That is fantastic. But that little girl in the hallway is still feeling, or did feel at some point, because I don't know if we've healed that. I think we have addressed and healed that. But anyway, what I was trying to say is that all of these experiences that we've had up in these lives up until today are still existing. And so while we can be like mature and try to say, oh yeah, we've done all the inner work, I don't hate anyone, I'm acceptance of every lesson and experience, and I'm neutral and got my inner peace going on, the reality is there is still parts of us who are still crying, who are still confused, who are still feeling isolated and lonely, or embarrassed or heartbroken, or all of these things that we've experienced along our lives. And sometimes that inner child, that we're still connected to, can still tap into who we are today, especially if we need to heal that part of ourselves. So it just reminded me of this beautiful conversation I had with this first waver the other day. And it really was, oh, is this making me want to cry? The little girl was really angry with the older version of her because she's like, you know, I'm still here and you are ignoring me and I'm still hurting and this world sucks and it's dense and I hate it and I want to go home. I want to go home, this little girl keeps saying, and we're still fucking here. And the adult, the beautiful adult, she is, you know, she is impatient. She's wanting to go. She's wondering why on earth is this shift taking forever and a day. And it's like she is feeling even more frustrated because her inner self, that little child, is still really hurt and super homesick and still pissed off being here. And so while this adult's trying to tell me, oh yeah, I've done all my inner work, the reality is it's not always the case. And sometimes when we have these frustrations, it can be the child version of ourselves getting more control over the emotions or the mind or the feelings to have acknowledgement.
Wow, you just blew my mind a little bit right there.
So we always try to have these catch-ups, but Christmas times, you know, always no time. No one has time. And so I feel like I haven't talked to you in a few days because we've just been so crazy busy. And so it was like we do need to catch up, but I always felt like when we do catch up, there's always significance that we need to share. And so I just want to give love to everyone and truly honor those people who are not just using spiritual words as, I just want to say this, I'm going to face my fears and swear more, being a spiritual wanker. Because I see so many people being spiritual wankers with their logos and their sayings and their nonsense, and that's all cute. Say all of the words you want to say, but gosh darn it, mean it. If you're going to say spiritual words and pretend to be X, Y, and Z, you know what, instead of pretending, why don't you use that time to actually grow and be mature about it and actually honor what you're saying? And oh, now I feel like I want to go into a rant because I saw an influencer, actually one that we had called in that private session, Erin, the one that was really embarrassed that she didn't want to grow because she is a face and name for herself and she doesn't want, we're not going to say it because I know there's people that love her and they always get so offended when we share her name anyway. And so I watched a little video of her that she just popped up on Facebook and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And so I watched 1 minute of her and this really screamed out to me and I was really concerned because I could see the significance of why I was supposed to listen to this. So what she was saying was the hardest and worst thing of all being awoken at this time is that you can't talk to anyone about your truth and your information, and that you cannot talk to other people and awaken them with your information. You cannot, she says. Like, she was really very firm about it. Don't talk to anyone, keep it to yourself. You would disempower them and hurt them if you try to communicate with anyone about your truth and your awakening and your process and your journey. How dare you use your ego to tell people what to do and what to think? And I just was like, honestly, I mean, I didn't roll my eyes, I promise, but I just did this long 1 minute gasp.
Oh, wow.
I was like, she has a huge platform. Please tell me she is getting social communities together where they can actually talk about their own journeys together, and that she's actually telling people, don't talk to those who are asleep, but talk to those who are asking questions. Find your communities. I've provided a platform for your communities. Talk to each other, share, unity, support, encouragement, upliftment. All I could hear her say was, don't share anything with anyone. Keep it to yourselves. Shut up. Shut your mouth, she was saying. Like, you know, you're going to be detrimental. You're going to impact them. And then, just as I was reaching to turn off my phone and bury it, what did she say at the end? Oh, that's right. Because everyone's on their own journey and path, and we've got all the time in the world to grow. So you know, you mind your own business with other people, and you keep everything to yourself. And I just was like, oh my gosh, yes, I guess she is saying what could be true. If someone has a really firm different belief system, you can talk about different belief systems, still love and respect them. And so our collectives are wanting each other to talk to each other and respect each other. If you worship Satan, Erin, and do blood rituals, that's your choice. I know it's not. But you know, like, that's your free will. I would like to judge those who do that, but we know we can't. I would, you know, I'd have a lot of questions, but I would still respect you telling me your honest truth of your processes and your journey. And then if I could show you respect listening to you, I would hope in return you could give me respect to listen to my journey about not having blood rituals and not that Satan is as a man-made construct, and that Archangel Lucifer is actually a very hard-working archangel who is finding those in the darkness and sending them and guiding them to the light, which is a higher frequency vibration, which everyone should be trying to achieve right now. So anyway, I just was, my heart, my mind, everything just felt so dense listening to her, because it felt like she was trying to separate her own community from each other and not empower each other and suppress voice. And this is not a time to suppress anything. We don't have to share our bigger truths to people in terms of, and then a spaceship's going to come and get you, blah, 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 blah. You know, like, that's not I mean, yeah, my heart feels very heavy and dense, because these big influences should be encouraging people to share their own journeys. And by telling them point blank, shut up, don't speak your truth, don't share your journey with other people, that's going to keep them safe, because it's none of their business what you're going through right now. It was just interesting. It's not my approach. My approach is what I've heard from the collectives, which is love everyone and respect everyone, and be able to share your own personal experiences, but not trying to impress or force people down rabbit holes. But the thing is that when we do try to force people with our truth, we get hurt, because their reaction is confusion. And when people are confused about something, they have an instant denial, and then an instant ridicule, and then an instant dismissal, and they have this classic trend of all of those range of emotions to dismiss everything we've said. And so I can see both sides, and I know I have tried to share some of my own journey with people as well, and they literally just shut down in front of me, and they could not hear or blink or breathe while I was speaking to them.
Yep.
But
and you probably gave them like the light version too. You were probably thinking, oh, I really could have gone to town too.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I hear you. I mean, we're spread out, it's for sure. We're all spread out, but there's a community.
I did feel like there was a huge responsibility to share the information, because I got this sense that when we were on the new earth and people were connecting in with each other, there was this one common thing. Why didn't you tell me? Why did you not
Mm.
tell me this was happening? I would have done so many different things in my life if I had known about this. I would have been able to enjoy 3D more because I was too distracted in the density. They're going to go through this mourning phase and period of not being respected to cope with this information, or, even though, as I know from sessions, people, have these conversations and they say, well, I did try to tell you, but you shut me down. And you told me I was crazy. You told me this. You told me that. And the person is like, well, that was my choice to respond that way, but I still wanted to know more. It's like, you do, you're damned if you don't. But
Yep.
regardless of what other people's belief systems are, having that basic respect um, and knowing that we don't need to be believed or respected to be able to have our own beliefs. If we're still trying to seek respect and a companion on this journey through someone else, that may be an expectation that we have to readdress, because we all have the answers within. Our teams want to support us, and I just say go within, meditate longer and more, and just feel into their senses, feel into their messages that they have for you, versus trying to get support from someone who is very dense, potentially maybe even a reptilian collective, who cannot fathom the new earth concept because it's not where they're going. So you could talk blue in your face about it. But anyway, I don't know. Maybe have I just summarized what she just said?
Yeah. I like the 1 minute sigh thing. I'm like, oh, you're mixing it up from the eye roll. I hear you.
It just concerned me because it felt like she was trying to say, don't talk to anyone about anything. Keep it to yourself as a dirty little secret. And I feel like we have kept so much to ourselves as dirty little secrets. This is part of what the problem is for humanity. This is why so many people are getting away with such bad behavior, because we're never confronting those who are making interesting choices to disempower humanity. And it starts from, really small things, and it just grows. If you get away with bad behavior, especially little children, if they get away with bad behavior, and don't have that much boundaries, they don't get to be motivated to be better adults until they're being forced to be responsible and accountable for actions.
And then they turn into influencers.
Yeah.
Oh, couldn't help it.
Well,
my bad.
I think what people don't seem to remember about myself is that I've had to do so many personal sessions for me to work on my own inner work and heal everything as much as I possibly can. Sure, I've still got inner work to do. Everyone would have. We keep asking for more experiences to learn and overcome from. But I think this was said in a few private sessions as well. Practitioners who aren't doing their true, honest inner work, they're using this tool for wisdom and knowledge and information without actually acknowledging their own inner child, for example, or being really truthful for what they're personally going through. And bless their egos, because the subconscious cannot be fooled by a human ego. It just doesn't work like that. And a lot of practitioners think that they can somehow beat the system and get bigger information, and they can't understand why their client is not getting the bigger information, because A, the client hasn't done their own inner work, neither has the practitioner. And so it gets confusing for them all when they are wanting to get bigger information about future events, and the subconscious is saying it's not time for you to know this right now.
Yeah. So I'm not a practitioner, as you know, but for everyone else. So question, is this something that is taught, that you do have to do your inner work and remove your own blocks in order to receive the information?
Uh,
in sessions?
it's it's taught if you read the books. The books state it very clearly, but you can do the course, but it doesn't have much. I notice that when I've talked to quite a few practitioners, they are quite unaware of how to get the best out of their clients and the best out of themselves for the sessions. So they sort of think, oh well, why should I? Why should I be the client? I've had a lot of practitioners that refuse to surrender into the sessions because they're control freaks. I say that with much love and also much judgment. um,
Well, yeah.
but that's the case. If you can't relax and allow the process to happen, you're control freak, and you are. And we all. I mean, let's just say, Erin, like because you are, you're a classic example. That I mean, it was an assumption. I don't think you did want to control the session, but it was more like your assumption was it was going to be something different. You thought that I was an anesthetist and you were going to be, made unconscious.
Yeah, I had definite expectations, and I had a very hard time surrendering. And I don't know if I mean, I don't think I truly ever did, like the way that like for instance, Sally, like that's a surrender, for example. I just listened to the most recent session, but man, yeah, it does take practice for us control freaks.
But I have compassion for the control freaks because at one point in your life you were out of control and it was scary and maybe have been hurtful or embarrassing or what other emotions, reactions you had to losing control, and you promised yourself you would never feel that again. And so, if for all of the control freaks out there, I love you. But remember the first time that you were out of control and promised yourself or refused to ever feel that way again. And so you're holding on to full control because of that one time. Now, I want to say to those people who are control freaks, I know that's a horrible thing, so please forgive me, but you know who I'm talking to. Because of that approach to life, you have controlled it so hard that you have been out of control for real, true growth because you're so rigid, you're inflexible. And so, control freaks love routine and structure and a whole lot of this other stuff because it makes them feel safe. But face your fears, people. This is the time.
Yes, you can do it because I did it. I've been working on surrendering for months, doing real good at it. Mega progress.
You're like the poster child.
Control freak. Yes.
No, for the growth of their sessions, you literally you are the polarity. You are our litmus test. You are our guinea pig example of look. I mean, it was only a few months ago that you were trying to tell you're going to try and teach your higher self something.
Oh, good Lord, I know. Hot mess express. No, but honestly, I'm so beyond grateful for the state of mind and the hard work I've put in and the growth I've made because of this channel and your hard work and all of our higher, bigger, better versions of us that are helping us. Holy cow, am I grateful. I am so freaking grateful that I can observe everything going on, chuckle about it, and keep it moving and not be weighed down and try and control oh my gosh, Erin, a year ago, oof, yikes, dude. Yeah, not good. So anyway, progress. Very grateful.
Keep growing because the old Erin would have been like seriously kicking herself down to the ground for, in quotation marks, that mistake of saying, oh, I think I can teach my higher self something. Like it wasn't, is it ego or was it just because you were trying to be helpful? Because everything that Erin used to do was coming from a beautiful place of trying to be helpful. And but as we have learned, you trying to be helpful was almost like helicoptering people and taking control and being rigid with other people to force them into your perception of safety. And
Mhm.
still it wasn't being malicious. It was, you were feeling scared that they were being out of control, and so you were trying to bring everyone into control for your peace of mind. And you weren't, I mean, you were a very beautiful hot mess, but you weren't truly a hot mess. You were reacting to a lifetime and a few lifetimes of big challenges and overcoming them. And like, I could cry if I could feel into your subconscious, who was like, that's my girl. She is making me so damn proud, because the big concepts, the big information, sure, there is doubt to lots of things, and that's natural to have doubt and rethink things. And almost when they throw doubt on our laps, in our minds, it's for us to rethink again what we know, what we feel, and what we have faith for. And every time someone gets self-doubt, it's a beautiful way to reassess every foundational uh, concept and information of what we know, and what we've experienced ourselves, and it makes us stronger. And I think everything's purposeful.
What a year, right? What a year.
A profound blessing.
I mean, the growth in so many people, amazing. I am so proud of so many people. And I think the same thing you were saying earlier, so I'll just copy and paste it, pretend that was mine. I mean, the genuine wanting to help others, wanting to be a better version of themselves so they can help their loved ones.
Yeah.
The coolest people. I met the coolest people this year. It's just, what a year. I'm just so blessed and grateful.
Yeah.
So grateful.
And all of the fakers, all of the people that pretend to be spiritual but aren't really being honest with themselves. It's quite a lot when you're pretending to be something you're not. It's a lot of hard work for them. So they usually get burnt out quite quickly, and then they get really resentful and bitter because it's not working out for them. They think in spirituality you can fake it until you make it, but you really can't. And I mean, we have seen a lot of people burn out, blow up and burn out, because they haven't been honest with their growth, with their journey, with their inner work, and with their feelings. And so a lot of people are very, well, we've seen profound, amazing growth. And then we've seen there's this father who keeps popping into mind, and he's passed on, and he is so disappointed. Like, he's kind of heartbroken because he introduced this work to his daughter, and he wanted her to grow because he wasn't really the best father. He wanted to be, but he had a lot of his own inner work. And so when he shifted, he realized that he could have been a better father. And how he wants to make it up for his children is to really profoundly push them into being able to fulfill their life purpose and mission. And so when people are fake and they pretend that they are spiritual and they fully get this information and blah 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 blah, they when they are not being honest with themselves and others, they burn out quite quickly. And when you are too busy being fake, you don't have that time to do your inner work truly. And so you just add more density into yourself. And then you get really, like, the classic examples of bitter, being a victim, and really seeing that life is, against you versus for you. And so a lot of, like, not just guides, but departed loved ones reach out to me because they're like, you are the voice, you can push people into being accountable for your actions and your behaviors and your approaches. And quite a few people have been really resentful towards me because I've had to say the harder truths to them. Because when they're lying to themselves and they're lying to others, they do not like having the truth be told to them because it's embarrassing. They want to pretend so much that they're in deep, deep, deep denial.
Yeah, I'm gonna term you the mirror because you are. I think it's beautiful. You're able to reflect the person right back at them, which is literally a blessing. Literally, I'm sorry for the people who didn't see it that way, but it's their choice. That feels very heavy hearing that a lot of departed loved ones come and knock on your door all the time to try and reach out to people. Man, that feels like a really heavy burden on top of everything else that you're also doing.
It's a responsibility because, again, these people are going to come to me after the shift and be like, why didn't you tell me I was dense? Why didn't you tell me I had this inner work still? And it's like, the sessions speak for themselves. I cannot be holding everyone's hand, especially when you are, when you're abusive towards me or when you're dismissive to me. So many people, this is so funny here, so many people wish that they could be, they have intuition and they have connections to, teams and be a channeler and all these senses. And I like, it's almost like careful what you wish for. I totally do it. Like, work your ass off for them. Totally do all of your inner work, connect in, do. Definitely do it. But when you get when you get this information, I don't like to trigger people and I don't like to call people out. But when I feel like their teams are pushing me to use my mouth to say to them, be responsible for your actions, your reactions are coming from a hurt place. You're trying to hurt others because you're hurt. Be responsible, be mature, stop being in victim mode because that's really self-destructive, and actually grow up. And people don't like hearing that. Like, they're so happy in denial. Well, they're not happy. This is the saddest thing. Those people who they're choosing to hold on to density are so unhappy. And they're looping and they're really, this is what confuses me, is that people can listen to these sessions for a year and still be stumbling. And I think it's because they haven't honestly done the inner work they were supposed to. So they can use the words and don't actually have any follow through. There's no true authenticity to what they're actually saying. But they're so addicted to the energy and used to listening that's part of a distraction. And then they listen to heaps of other influencers who add density and negativity and contradictions, and so they don't, because they're so dense, they don't have a true connection to themselves, and then they misconfuse anxiety. They think, oh, I'm feeling this way in my stomach, and so this means it must be negative, when it truly is their intuition, their gut intuition of, listen, focus on what you're hearing because this is the truth. And many people are still using labels, whether it's ADHD or panic attacks or depression or whatever. Those diagnoses and labels are real when you believe in them, but check, what is the motivation to be put onto medication by your doctors? Is it truly to empower you? Because they should be also talking about your diet and your exercise, running. Like, they should be truly focusing more on your wholeness, and your spirituality comes into that. And when people are trying to just shut you down and shut you up with medicines, it's I'm not a doctor, obviously, but I deeply care for those people who are stuck, and I deeply care about those people who are looping. It is obviously all their choices, but when they are hurt, they do not see how much they hurt others. And it's weird because ghosts do get hurt. They see their loved ones who they keep pouring love and guidance, and it hurts them because they know that we could be so much better. And it it's like we're all going to have conversations about this, off and out of 3D. And so many people who are dense in 3D think that we're never going to, they will never have to be held accountable for their actions and behavior. And adults who get away with lying at young ages, they haven't been accountable yet for their behavior, so they just keep living as if there is no consequences. And remember what was that guy's name? Epstein. When I channeled him, before I even opened my mouth, I kept hearing him saying, I just didn't know that there was an afterlife. I had no
Mhm.
clue. I was clueless. I was clueless. I just didn't even believe. I didn't even think it was a thing. And, now look at him having to watch his life review, and he is very uncomfortable with his decisions, and he's more than embarrassed because not all of those were life contracts. And so,
Mhm.
he's having to pay a lot from his soul. Isn't, like he's got to make a lot of amends, and he is working behind the scenes to try and help as much as he can. But his ego and arrogance impacted way too many, and that's why he died. That's why he was killed.
Hmm. Um, I did hear the Epstein one. Actually, I listened to it like a few weeks ago. But anyway, it hurts my that what really touched me was that about the I want to say air quotes ghosts that are upset with their loved ones' actions and just like trying so hard to get their attention. And I mean, that's probably all of us. So I'm not throwing shade on anyone. I'm just like it's a new perspective to think about, I think, and it must be painful to watch and trying desperately to get someone's attention and literally not able to, and just wanting the best for them.
I think these people who are in density, they feel so alone that it's almost like that they forget that their guides are watching them, their departed ones are watching them, the collectives are knowing all this information too. So it's like while you're being a little troll online, everyone, you think, oh, I'm just going to use this fake name and no one's going to know. Like your whole team is watching you and your choices, and it's like this is when the spiritual people, it's like, well, it's just a fake little label that you say that you're a spiritual person, because if you truly were tapped into what spirituality is, you would know we are all one, we are all seeing everything, nothing is overlooked. And when we are trying to hurt other people because we haven't mastered our own inner work, at what point at what point are we going to help humanity when all of these volunteers and light workers are still fumbling around with their own density?
Yeah, yikes. I vote now. I vote we help people now. So good luck to those people. We got work to do, the rest of us. So
Yeah, and like it's um it's like it gets to the point where like all those people that want density and that's part of their life contract and mission, like I respect all contracts, so I don't have a problem with those people who are dense and asleep, because that's part of their life experiences, they're playing that role. My personal problem is like those people who have come to do a mission to inspire and be leaders, and have chosen to not step up and chosen to be victims, or chosen to be, too fed up, too tired. Like, yes,
mhm.
yes, it's hard, but we knew it was hard. We knew what we were getting ourselves into, and we volunteered to be of service. We didn't volunteer to be here to be pouting and frustrated. I mean, yes, we have all had pity parties at one stage or another, and like I think it's natural to kind of reset and find our joy and our perspective again, especially when we're growing energetically. When we expand energetically, we can hold new ranges of more density, to be able to help be of service more. And if we forget to ground, are you still do you still have a little timer on your phone?
If I don't do it every day, it's a problem. Oh yeah, I have to.
Well, tell me about that, my friend. What is your plan?
I so if I don't, so I soak up dense energy, and if I don't ground every single day, um, I get anxious. I have a hard time unwinding, and I have to do it once a day. Baths don't work. Like I literally need to. I don't care what temperature is outside. My feet are on the ground at least 5 minutes, closer to 10. I am pulsating energy. At this point, I'm like swaying too. It's pretty gnarly.
Are you
Yeah.
daydreaming?
Yeah. All day, every day.
Water.
It's a lot. I mean, I'm out there. I mean, I travel. Yeah. Anyway, I travel like 25 miles to and from work each day, and I'm there, and not everyone is on the same path I am, and that's cool. I want to support them. I want to soak up I literally ask to soak up as much density as I can so I can help. I mean, I don't know if that matters at all, but I'm trying to.
Careful what we wish for.
Oh, I know.
So no, that's fantastic. I'm very proud of you. But what they're telling me now is when you're driving in the car, imagine just full source energy coming down and flooding out onto the roads, and just it's like they want you to coat all of the roads. Imagine that all of the road is just full of love, and just focus on just painting all of the roads with love, and that it will wash out any density, because those roads are really busy, and they're wanting to let you know that that's where a lot of people they drive in a meditative state, and so they don't actually focus on their worries, and so they're more open to love, and they're more open to releasing density, and it's almost like if we imagine that they're driving in a drive-through of energetic car wash, and you have just uh, got a thick layer of love on those roads. So when they're just driving through, they're going to be more open and marinating in that high frequency of love that you're plowing down, and that you can just imagine that the earth will just soak up and absorb that density.
Mm, I love it. My bulldozer status has a whole new meaning.
She's an excavator.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll totally do that.
Yeah, well, it just keeps you feeling like you're of service. And then that will actually help you ground as well, because you're opening yourself up to more high frequency energy. As if, imagine you've got like a sunroof on your head, and you're just opening up all of that higher frequency to come through your energy. And yes, I love that you're wanting to help heaps of people. And I just say, trust that you can ground more, and right now you're feeling like it's a time thing, but you're more focused on time versus like how you're going to feel. So just allow yourself to dump it straight away, um, and trust that you can.
Mm, okay, got it. Do it. I like my homework assignment. I'm on it.
I know you'll explore it and that sort of stuff. It's, when we're doing these little routines, sometimes, if it works one way one time, we think that must be the way. And so we create new belief systems. And that's all fine. But remember, my friend, you like control. So you are always seeking patterns and routines. And so you're going to create more belief systems which may not actually serve you.
True. True.
Well,
Totally true.
today.
Yep, learn something new every day. Yeah, you're totally right. And that was a yep, per usual. Yeah, routine thing. But yeah, I totally hear you, and I'll do that.
See if there's a difference as well.
Yeah.
Like some energies, frequencies can come as a bigger flood and a big flush, and some can just be, depends what you're doing during your sleep cycles as well. So, you know, our bodies are marvelous things right now, and when we honor them, and I know you have truly stepped up into honoring your body. Like, you're still human, you're still 3D, but the way that you have respected not just your mind, but your body in the last few months has been so honorable, and I think it goes hand in hand.
Thank you. It's I'm a pretty easy read to anyone listening. Yes, I'm a control freak. I've always been that way. But uh that was totally not serving me like at all. And that like in so many ways that came across like mentally, physically, medically, control freak in all areas. And I really took a good look at okay, now hold on. Now what is actually true and what is actually what is what is it that I can do to fix this? And being a highly functioning anxious person, I'm like, I can get control of this. It's not anxiety. I don't know if it exists, but I know I can get control of it. So I did. So I just like didn't, I no longer bought it. Like, didn't buy into the diagnosis I received. I took control of it, meditating. I'm focusing on, I'm trying to train my mind. Like, honestly, going to bed unmedicated, like the whole 9 yards. Just taking control of my life, and it's my control. Just because I got a diagnosis from a doctor doesn't mean it's like they know better than I do. I know the best. And once through this, learning everything on this channel, I was like, wait, this is totally within my control. And it was. And damn, it feels good to be like, check.
Absolutely. Yeah, you take back control over your life. You're like out of control in one round to now being in full control, but not because you're afraid. It's more like you're embracing it and it's empowerment.
Yes. And I've been working on this for a long, long time, as my team can attest, surrendering. Like, I've been working on surrendering for a long time, and like I'm doing really well. And this might sound ridiculous, but for me, it was a really big hurdle. And now I'm just like, I've reached a point where I'm like totally trusting. I'm like, whatever comes, comes. Like, I'm good. They're in control. I am not. And I'm good with that. And just, it's so peaceful. It's so great. I'm so grateful where I am this year as opposed to where I was last year. And I've spoke to so many people who feel the same way.
I was talking to someone about how we thought we were ready last year to ascend. We were hysterically laughing, like, oh my God, we were just juvenile infants. And there's no freaking way humanity was ready last year. No way. Not like, oh my God, I hope and dream of yeah. Like, seriously. And like, yes, I know there were some people who were, but um those are the people that are so annoyed now that we haven't shifted. It's like, wait a minute, you've lost your inner peace and balance, and now you've just gained frustration. Like, and I think, um you know when there's a lot of there's so much high frequency vibrations happening on the planet that all the denser people, um it's not just the Reptilian Collective, it is others who have done no inner work but should have. They are being squeezed to address their shit. And, which may look like a lot of diarrhea, because if they're not going to deal with it emotionally, they're going to have to release it physically. And so there's going to be a lot of purging of everything, and they are so miserable and so on panic and edge right now because their bodies are doing something that consciously they don't understand, but subconsciously they're fully aware of what's happening and why. So that they are resisting because they can't control what's happening to their own bodies.
I see so much confusion and panic to the people like I come across. Yeah, it's confusing times for them for sure. Hence why it's important that we have our shit together, people. So we can help and we can just be there and just love and just listen and just reassure and.
Well, we've been told,
Whew.
you know, um, wherever you start listening to these sessions, it's a common thing where they say, love yourselves profoundly and love others. That's the basics. And, if you want to be fancy, do something above that. But, that's the basics. You have to fully love yourself, 100% love and accept yourself, and continue to love. So every choice is about loving yourself. So it's being responsible for what you put into your mind and your body, and actually, while we could treat ourselves to, treats all the time, it's not necessarily the best things for us. And if we love and honor ourselves, we will make those wiser choices. And so fully loving ourselves and then being able to love everyone else as versions of self. I mean, this has been the same statement time and time and time and time again. And it's interesting because so many people can try and twist that. So people will be like, nah, that's all bullshit, because I love myself, but I'm not going to love people who have done crimes against humanity. They're evil, that's Satan, blah 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 blah. And like, yes, we can say those are not choices we would make, and it's hard to accept and understand it, but trusting that it's all purposeful to awaken humanity. So we love the role that they're playing, we love their souls, but we don't have to love their actions. And so many people want to trip up on these and twist them to make one example, like one exemption, so like the rule. Like, ultimately, it's almost safe to say that, people who are listening to these sessions, not everyone in their family or household are doing crimes against humanity. But we're still supposed to love them. We love each other. We may not always love people's choices of how they want to, do things, but it's interesting how people will try to get out of justifying how they don't want to trust or believe this information, because they're trying to twist everything to be, oh, it's just them trying to justify crimes against humanity, for example. I mean, as mothers, Erin and I both can say that stuff is disgusting, feral, hideous, nightmarish, horrible, repugnant, and we could cry at a dime thinking about it because it's just hideous. But to have that bigger perspective from a metaphysical perspective of why it all had to happen, reluctantly we have to have neutral with it and accept it and trust that it's for the greater good of all humanity to learn and grow from.
I think the worst thing that anyone can do as far as that goes is not respect those beings and, well, I want to say victims, but the souls who signed up to be the victims, how about that, of crimes against humanity for the awakening of humanity. The worst thing we could do is disrespect them by not growing, by not seeking out the why, by being stuck on hatred or villainizing a person or a collective or whatever people may do. That's the worst thing we could do. It doesn't give them any respect that they deserve.
I think it's, the dark agenda or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's a win-win for them, isn't it? They get to do horrific, horrible things for their own, perverted, sicko, beliefs and needs. That's full judgment, obviously. But then for everyone to know about it and then have that deep, horrible reaction and then anger, it's like a win-win for them. They get to do what they want, and they also get to keep people in fear and density.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think it's, I think it's, while we don't want to dismiss it, while we want to honor everyone's experiences, trusting that their teams are protecting them and they had exactly what they wanted to have occur to them and that for them to experience all of that stuff, for us to lose our own high vibration because of those situations playing out, well, then we're part of the problem.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree. And once you get to the why and the metaphysical reasoning behind it, it's you I don't know, you get out of the loop, and then you're part of the solution. I totally agree with what you just said.
The whole thing, if humanity was more responsible and stopped following blindly and actually wanted to actually start thinking for itself and be part of, a more moralistic compass way of living, we wouldn't need horrific events like the laser and all this other stuff that needs to happen. But that's literally the state of where humanity is at, that they're
Mm-hmm.
so reluctant to be honest with themselves, be connected to themselves, know what the difference is between right and wrong, and do some research and start thinking for themselves, and actually not be afraid of consequences for speaking truth, and actually be able to talk to other like-minded people to get support, and not be told to shut up and not share your truth with anyone. Like, there's I just wish everyone could have so much more clarity, because part of me still is like, damn it, humanity, seriously, the fucking laser, we've got to get to that point.
I fully was like, no, 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 say no. In the session, Sally's session, I was like, no, 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 no. And then I said yes and laughed, and I was like, oh, damn it.
I know. And like the thing is that, so people have not appreciated me trying to push people into being responsible and stepping up and being of service, because they're like, it's everyone's own time, blah 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 blah. People will create their own realities. But the thing is that this laser event's coming. And while we are all being told to not talk to each other and to just respect our slow growth journey because there's no rush, I want to scream to these people. um, it's bigger than just individual people. This is an evolutionary step for this planet and for humanity, and there is so much more than just 3D minds and egos that are playing this very slow, distracted, disconnected, disempowered game here. And it just, I mean, poor Sally, she felt awkward when they were laughing about that, because she was like, "You monsters!" No, that she wasn't. Or, but it's like, you know, um, sorry, Sally. It's like they found it funny, because it's like, can't you still see there's so many people that are sleeping? And it's not, the laser isn't for those people who want density and that's part of their life contract. The laser is for these people who are pretending to be spiritual, to pretending to be truthers, to be pretending that they know everything, and still are in density and not like processing any of their traumas or inner work and all this other stuff. Like, it's big lessons for all of those people who are still, in some regards, sleeping.
Heartbreaking. It is. There's just no way around it.
Well, then we have the other. I mean, Sally and I want to have a conscious mind conversation about her session, because there was lots to unpack there. But
Yes.
I mean, I haven't talked to you about it. I know you've just listened to it today. But
Yeah.
here I am crying for this mother who lost her son.
Oh God.
And then he comes in and he's laughing at us because we're crying, and he's saying, "Oh, she was just my one mother that lifetime. I've got heaps of them." Like,
Oh my gosh. I was just talking to Stefan about this, like literally like an hour ago. I was like, I want to know more about this whole life is a game thing, and I want to play. I want to play. Like I want that mindset. Like you guys take it all way too seriously. And he totally sparked that again, because we've heard that 1,000 times. Well, I sure as hell have. But I'm like, I want to know more about that.
I guess selfishly for me, I was processing, imagining being that mother, like just so much in pain and just so distraught. Your whole world's just like, I don't know how she could have ever stood up again. Like, I've had clients who have regressed to other lifetimes, and I remember this one. I don't know if it's public, but she saw her husband and daughter or son be killed, and she just collapsed and laid with them, and she couldn't get up, and it was like so upsetting, because it's just so painful, like just being the utter shock and just being there with their bodies, and just like you don't even have the will to, like, just get up, and she had to bury them, and like, far out, these lives are so freaking challenging, and we get so emotionally connective to it. We're such empaths. We can't even comprehend what it would be like, but we try our best to understand that situation, and it just causes us to cry ourselves.
Yeah. That one was tough.
When you're listening to Sally, and she's really feeling the mother, and then within a second she's laughing at us because her body is being used to represent the information from the mother, and then to represent the information from the son, and it goes so sad, and then laughing at the like, it's there's no way even a good actor would be able to perform like that range of emotions and
No.
information. Like, these sessions are just phenomenal for the perspective of it. But poor Sally, she said
Yes.
after that session, her ears were full of tears. Like, she'd cried so much. Bless her for that.
Oh, yes. That was, ooh.
It's just,
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot, man. That parallel life thing. I mean, fascinating. And I don't know. I don't want to say my heart was heavy, but I was like, whoa, she got dreams of all this stuff already. And then she had and she relived all that in that session. And I was like, wow. And wow, that was like a marathon. It was, wow, just wow. And the fact that parallel lives impact people, and people don't realize. Anyway, it seems like, wow, that's a rabbit hole.
the parallel lives impact us just as much as our past lifetimes and our imprints. We're carrying a lot of crap around, and not just this lifetime that we know.
No wonder therapy doesn't work.
It never would. It effectively makes them addicted to talking about their problems. That's all it is. And so they constantly want to seek more problems to share, because they get listened to, they get supported by sharing their problems. And so it's like it's a never-ending cycle, because we're always going to be experiencing. And I think when you trust a professional to give you the answers or the insights, then you're not trying to work it out for yourself. You're just trying to collect a whole lot of problems during your week or month to then present to the professional, to then tell you what it means and how you should see it. And ultimately, if we have like-minded friends and communities, we should be able to share what we're going through, and listen to each other, respect each other, and be able to give ourselves the responsibility of what is the lessons and purposes that I'm supposed to explore and hear and learn from with my life choices. Because remember, everything that is happening to us is a reflection of what we need to overcome and learn and experience. So why are we paying big money to a professional to mansplain our own personal life experiences and lessons?
Yes. Oh, I love that. Just that thought process of moving away from that mentality to, what can I learn here? Like, how did this help me? How did this hurt me? What did I learn? How can I move forward? What do I want to change? Like, just that introspective thought process. And you just have to get that down like once, and you can apply it to everything in your life.
Yeah.
That thought process, I mean. So yeah.
Part of loving ourselves is knowing ourselves and being honest about who we are. And so therefore, if we love ourselves deeply, we pay attention to who we are, we treat ourselves like we're best friends of ourselves, and you know everything about your best friend, you know everything about yourself. Aren't we then the experts of ourselves? Of course, with a 3D perspective, but that's a big step forward versus trusting a stranger to give us their professional opinion when they have no insight to what we truly feel and think and respond. And also, we, I mean, only these sessions, to my knowledge, only these quantum sessions accesses the full information from our own master guide about what we've experienced in parallel lives and in past lives and even future lifetimes, because remember they all impact us. um
Yeah. Oh,
so
I'm a believer. Oh, I'm so sold. Literally incredible. And the knowledge that our medical system doesn't even get to the root cause of anything that's affecting us. It's yeah.
there should be a big alert to people that the system is trying to keep us sick. And I know that I mean that's uncomfortable, right? And we don't want to believe that these people who spend a lot of money and a lot of years to be trained are really being trained how to be drug dispensers for us and misdiagnose us. And um, yeah, I know that lots of people want to have faith and trust, the labels of the diagnoses and trust the professionals. But again, like just like you disconnected yourself from the labels because you didn't identify with those labels. At one point, you did because it was just an easy solution. Sweet, cool, give me the drugs. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm struggling, and most people have struggled. A lot of empaths, feel very overwhelmed, and those little children that are crying to go home because they know this isn't it. This is a joke.
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, uh, the the drug industry is great because you can get off your face legally and just be labeled as something, and then there are those people that intuitively know that that doctors can't be trusted and the medical system is part of a problem for humanity, and then they go to other drugs that may bend their minds, and that's all fine for party tricks. But when you are relying on getting out of your mind through drugs, again, it's a tool, and you can, if you actually were diligent enough and had the discipline in your mindset enough, you would be easily capable of meditating at a high frequency beyond any of the bigger drugs that you can find on earth.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. I
It seems like hard work, doesn't it? It seems like, oh, I tried it once and didn't work, so I'm just going to go back to my lazy drugs.
yeah, it's so rewarding though to get, and I'm speaking from experience because I did it recently. It's so rewarding to um like not rely on like to gain the control of the muscle of your mind, I guess, to and it is a process and it is clumsy sometimes to calm it down and focus on meditating. And oh my gosh, guess what, now I have an actual connection with my team. Now I can, not a conversation by any means, but now I get instructions or comments or guidance, and I didn't before because I was freaking numbing myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I do.
And
Boom. Game
part of,
changer. Everyone do it. It's so fun.
yeah, part of that. I mean, it's training.
Yeah.
We want to master our minds, and this is. I mean, I know that there are stepping stones, and I know that some people have found drugs helpful, and I'm definitely not judging, but what the most powerful drug is connecting in with your team, because that gives you the ultimate high. Love the power and connection of source energy. Profound.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it, this and first of all, it's free. Second of all, it can't land you in jail. It doesn't have any side effects. It only empowers you. Like, the benefits outweigh it. But so many people distract themselves, and it's easier to to do what their routines are. And I understand that. But again, it's about loving yourself. And are we still using crutches and tools to try and get what we should be doing naturally for ourselves?
Hmm. Yep. And what's the consequence too? This is what people don't think about. What's the consequence of using the crutch? Well, you're numb, so you're pretty dense. So you're not, even if you do practice, even if you are working on it. I mean, it held me back. So I'm speaking from experience. Getting help going to sleep. Well, it kind of stopped the connection, and I wanted that desperately. And yeah. Anyway, I hope, I'm really not trying to brag. I just want to encourage everyone who's in the spot. I absolutely know what it's like, and I just encourage anyone who's thinking about it. You've
But
got this.
Kieran, your motivation wasn't to like tell people, look at me, I'm fantastic. Your motivation was to honor yourself. So it's not bragging, it is you saying, look, I was a control freak. Everyone heard me in my sessions, in my journey, in these sessions, and look at me. Look how I have surrendered in, and I'm empowering myself authentically without the use of, other stuff. You are really thinking with your mind, you're using your senses, you are truly the real deal. And this is why you're growing and enjoying your relaxation and not being a detail freak. I say that with much love.
Totally. Oh, totally. It's yeah, totally. Yeah. It's been quite a year. So thank you.
But
Oh my goodness.
it's,
Thank you.
it's been less than a year for you. You've only been listening to these sessions how many months? A handful. And you have put in the time and the effort to listen to these sessions and apply them, and you respect them. And even though sometimes the information, we're all crossing our fingers and toes thinking, please, not the laser, that would be fantastic, but unfortunately, humanity is not responsible enough to mature enough by itself and support each other, because they're so distracted, and it's not polite, apparently, to call people out and hold them responsible for their density and their lack of choices and decisions that they're making to disempower themselves. We can love people with the truth and be able to give them and remind them that they have options for their choices, because it's impacting them in a really negative way, the things that they are doing.
Yeah, I wish I could understand. I don't know. I wish there was something else that could be said about this. About, like, this is all choices. This is all choices. Everyone has a choice, and everyone's messed up. And it's not pretty, but just move forward. Forgive yourself, learn, move forward. Be honest with yourself and move forward. I just wish the laser thing, yeah, that's
Yeah, it's not nice.
heavy. It's heavy.
I mean, it's definitely not nice, but there's so much other stuff that's happened to humanity that's not nice, and it has to stop. It has to
Yeah.
stop. It can't continue on like this. And unfortunately, a lot of people have got away with bad behavior for money, for ego, for control, for manipulation, for shits and giggles. And it's so irresponsible. And we know this, and instead of being angry and frustrated and pissed off with them, which would then just lower our vibrations, we are being responsible for our choices, and we are connecting them with other like-minded people who we also want to keep reminding them with love that they are responsible to be of service to. Um, and it's so lovely that we've got great friends, but we also know that we don't need to keep loving them and praising them to motivate them, because they should be all accountable for doing their own self-love. And so it can be really distracting when we feel like we've got to keep loving and supporting our friends just to be here when we know that they've chosen to be here. That this is, you know, we've all got life contracts to serve out and to honor, and those people who feel like they need attention from others to just be celebrated, to be living today, well, we're all here. We can give ourselves our own applause, and we need to keep moving forward, trusting that the more we are of service and keep our vibrations high, the faster it will go. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I feel like when people ask and they feel really frustrated that we haven't shifted, the collectives are like, that's the behavior that's keeping us here.
Oh gosh, I just, oh man, I could not imagine the eye rolls with anyone like from their perspective. Like, children, you have no idea what the parents are dealing with. Like, stop complaining. And we're like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? They're like, shut up.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, a million year road trip, and everyone's we've sung all the songs and we've played all the I Spy games, and everyone's busting to go to the bathroom, and we're nearly there, and everyone's irritable and they just want to stretch their legs.
Yeah. Yep. And then also, uh, here's a question. Why does it matter? I mean, like, we should be grateful for every day that we have. We should be so neutral. I mean, just present. So I guess I'd ask anyone who feels that way, why does that matter? Like, find the root cause for that. Be present, be grateful. That's why I mean, that's certainly what I'm working on, being present and being grateful for every day is just an opportunity to just, I don't know, just love it. I mean, these are exciting times for sure. And it's exciting to be here and with our loved ones before things, head south. Let's maximize it.
It seems to be consistent with the reptilian collectives. They are so uncomfortable that they are really overreacting normally than what they would in the density. And so the starseeds that are supporting them, they are, at their wits' end because it's so draining. They're physically exhausted,
Oh,
they're holding a lot of energy, and then the reptilians are, and just other people who are dense, really struggling with it so much more. And what the collectives are wanting people to know is break the repeat cycle and the habits. Those reptilians and those people who want to control you, your collectives are wanting you to stop reacting to the manipulation and the abuse and the control, and start standing up for yourselves, because those people who are trying to control and manipulate you, they're feeling so uncomfortable about themselves, they're trying to push others around because they get joy in that. And so they're wanting people to stop having the stop seeking enjoyment out of manipulating and controlling and even abusing people. So if we don't react to their abuse, then we are stopping the cycle. And this is a really important thing. We are supposed to step up and actually question their behavior and reflect it back onto them so they stop and think, because they're so reactionary that they're not even thinking about their consequences. So holding people responsible for their bad behavior with love, the best way you can do it, don't yell at them and argue with them. It is about coming from a neutral space and just calmly questioning, did you realize that your abuse to me right now is making me concerned about your behaviors? Because it's not affecting me what you're saying, but where are you at for you to even say this to me? You're confusing yourself. I deserve more respect than this. Whatever the words are, they'll flip out, of course, because they're wanting to manipulate, control you. But when we stop with the usual reactions that we would do, oh my gosh, I'm so hurt, or have an argument, or whatever naturally is the cycle to this, when we break cycles and don't play our part, they have to change, because it's not working for them. What they're trying to get out of the exchange is joy to hurt others. When you're not hurt, where do they go from there?
are you talking about influencers?
No, I'm talking about I'm talking about reptilians, and I'm talking about dense husbands, it seems like a pattern because
Oh.
they're so triggered right now with the higher frequency, and so it's about them stopping and being accountable for their behavior because they're so irritable and they're not looking in themselves to figure out what their irritability is, which is trying to process their inner work, that they're trying to abuse others.
Oh, I see. I see what you mean. Yeah.
So they're just being obnoxious.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm with you now. I was like, wait, what? Yep.
So yeah,
It's is it the energy that's coming in right now? Because it feels like a lot.
yeah, it's huge amounts of energy. So they're getting uncomfortable knowing that they're out of control with the energies in their bodies, and it's almost driving them insane energetically. So they're even
Mm.
more irritable, and they like control and routines. So they're trying to sleep longer than they normally. Our bodies need less sleep, but because they're so in control of routines, they're forcing themselves to be in bed, and then because they're not respecting what their bodies are doing and they're still trying to hold on to this routine, they're now worried that they are not getting enough sleep and that they're potentially insomniacs or whatever it's called. And so everything about them is changing and they can't grasp onto holding consistencies of what the ascension symptoms are, because remembering even they're feeling certain they experiencing certain ascension symptoms themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, uh, related question. Is everyone feeling the energies that's coming in, even those who are going to source?
Yes, I think
I
so.
was just I was thinking
i,
about that the other
I,
day.
I think so. um, I know some people say that they don't experience anything and they're worried that they're going to be left behind, and I say to them, potentially you've already experienced it ages ago. So it's all individual basis. um,
Yeah.
I know the increase so everyone who's on this planet is being marinated in a higher frequency energy. You cannot escape the energy, and so when you've got density, you're going to feel the impact of it one way or another.
Yeah. Especially with team members prodding you for that inner work too. That's a lot. That's a lot for sure.
Yeah, it's like they're gonna, you know, and when they want your attention, that when your teams and when your ghost buddies want your attention, it's not subtle. Like it's not like, oh, I wonder if that little wisp of wind was. It's like, no, I tripped up on a door, or like it's they will make you stop and think about your behavior, especially when you are like angry with something and then you walk through a door and you like kick the door. Like it is. um,
Yep.
they are trying to get your attention to stop this negativity of your mindset, because people are looping with anger, and so they are not focusing on other things which they're supposed to, which is raising their vibrations. And so when you're looping and pissed off with someone, that's when you will trip up, land on your bottom. It's like the universe is smacking your bum.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yep. Not subtle. Nothing subtle right now.
Yeah.
No. Nope.
This is when people don't want to message me and ask me why they've had this accident, because they're like,
Yeah.
Well, that's
Oh,
yeah, people are nervous to tell me the truth of what's going on with them because they think I'll judge them, or um, because they're embarrassed that they've got this mindset, or they're doing something that they know they probably shouldn't be doing. But these sessions are profound and so helpful and amazing. I'd rather people get the answers and the truth and heal from them and face their fears and problems and release them, versus holding on to them and potentially having more smack bottoms by the universe.
yeah. Yeah. They're ghost buddies. Oh my gosh. Last thing I'll say, so funny. Remember that a channeling you did about like the sassy senior citizen ghost?
Yes.
It makes me laugh.
It was
That
interesting
was
because it was, yeah, a client, her friend's mother had died and they were devastated because they couldn't say goodbye at the funeral. Oh no, at the, well, maybe the funeral, I'm not sure. Anyway, and the grandmother just came in to say, "Oh, I'm totally fine. I'm living it. I'm loving it." And we get to be a nana gang and haunt the crap out of these doctors and nurses who, and I was like, "What the heck? Like this is new." And then she was like, "This is because of you, Joe." And I was like, "Oh my God, what have I done? Like, am I naughty? Am I in trouble?" And they were like, "No, it's because you've been asking for people to have epiphanies." And this is part of how did they get epiphanies is having like, be haunted by these grandparents who they were clients with them, and they, yeah, it's pushing their moral compass. But then the grandmother was like this, Erin, she was like, um we were supposed to just like shake them awake and like make them responsible, and she was like, and like she was giggling, she's like, accidentally we've made a few of them commit suicide. And I was like, oh my God. Like,
oh,
they did too
whoa.
much of a job. Like, because it's insane. If you don't believe in the afterlife, and here is a whole bunch of nanas coming to haunt you because you should have known. Um,
Stop, stop, I'm gonna pee. This Nana gang thing is coming.
it's a nana. Um, but it have to be, they wanting these professional doctors who should know better to, this is what they all wanted to help humanity, and they all should know. But of course, again, because lots of the doctors and specialists are reptilian, it's not a judgment, this is literally what I've heard in sessions. It's kind of makes sense that they need to be, because it's the COVID stuff. They're wanting the doctors to step up and be honest. And of course, there are doctors that are being honest and stepping up, but then they are losing their licenses.
Yeah, yeah. It's of course purposeful, but this Nana gang thing has got me rolling. That was a really funny one.
It made me cry actually because I could see the benefit of really holding these people accountable and having these profound, scary epiphanies. Like I sort of think sometimes an epiphany could be like like an enlightened moment that's like, oh my God, Eureka, how fantastic. And this just popped into my head. I never considered an epiphany could be like, sensing ghosts and being told off by Nana Gang about, my choices to, euthanize people through my, malpractice.
Oof, man. Yeah. Oof. Um, trying to keep it together. Nana gang thing.
But no, I
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to cover this, honestly. I mean, gnarly. I mean, yikes.
yeah. But it was like, I cried because I was so humbled to realize that this is, when we asked that one time for those epiphanies, or I think we asked twice, I can't remember, but we asked the professionals, for all the professionals to have epiphanies, and Erin, like, it worked. Like the collectives heard us, and we used our freedom correctly, and we had the right integrity, even though we didn't ask for a nana gang. Like it happened, and it is really impacting a lot of doctors and nurses in a really positive way to enlighten them. And I cried in front of
Good.
my client because it was like I just wanted to share the messages that this nana had through her friend, and then I was curious and I was like, I wonder what she's doing now. I wonder if she's like on the ship or if she's gone to New Earth or whatever. And that's when she was like, I mean, I'm part of a gang. And I was like, what? And she was like, we're haunting people. And I just was like, do I like what? I don't realize, but this, like, I was like, isn't that cliche? Like a gang. Well, no, I've never heard of a ghost gang, let alone a granny ghost gang. But and there's grandfathers as well, so it's not just it's not just nanas, obviously. But I've just termed it for the it was, yeah, I knew I needed to share that information because for all those people who are devastated that their loved ones are dying and they can't get access to the hospitals because they're not vaccinated, I mean, that is the most cruelest thing, to be able to not be able to say goodbye to, a beautiful grandmother who you just love and adore. I mean, Erin, God, you know this, my friend.
Yeah. 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 I got a quantum grandma thing going on right now. It's pretty trippy, but wow.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I want people just to trust that there is so much going on behind the scenes to help awaken humanity as fast as it possibly can without reaching free will. And we all can be of service by just sending love on the roads to all the people that are in those cars with their bloody masks on. How on earth, if they have an accident, will they be insured? Because
Oh, are people wearing masks in the car?
by themselves,
Oh.
bless their little
Oh, I'll send them love.
the brain damage. They have to be brain damaged. Like, to drive with a mask on by yourself confuses me. And I just feel so judgmental.
Only on the weekends.
It is almost the weekend, so yeah. So I'm just
Yeah.
preparing myself for my greatest joy, um, being judgmental. No, but it just oh, like this is why we need the laser, Erin.
I know. I know. I know. I understand it because like literally one it would never stop if I get it from that perspective. Like it would just go on forever. I get it.
Yeah, it's definitely taken a lot more than they were expecting, that's for sure. And what I felt like with the first waiver, getting back to that conversation, when I tapped into her team, they were like, motivate her, she's doing a really great job, keep up the good work. And then they were like, and we're really pissed off too. Like, they're so done. They're so done. They are so
Yeah.
absolutely done. And this is why they love it when we use our free will to be creative and ask them for extra help, because this gives them more access to be able to help many without breaching the the I don't know whether it's like the galactic
It's like
universal,
non-interference.
yeah, the non-interference clause, the law. It's a tricky one because we could have easily evolved earlier if we had seen and known, but right now we are just having to have a faith-based belief system that they are there. And I mean, you only need to have one session to realize that the information coming out of your mouth is definitely not conscious mind. Yeah,
Yep.
I mean,
Nope.
I am very 3D, my friends, and I am not ashamed to say it. And so, even when I listen back to the sessions, I know there's no way my little monkey mind brain could have been able to formulate that insight and information, even on my bestest, even if I had planned it. I just, yeah,
There's just no way. I mean, no one. Literally no one. It's It's
no.
no, it's not us. Clearly.
And I think this is what kind of this is the thing that sort of not upsets me, that just sort of disappoints me, is that people who listen to these sessions, who it's direct information from the collectives, from their own guides, and they still use their free will to dismiss the information. I mean, what? You get profound wisdom and you still choose to not step up into it. The sessions spell out to you what your inner work is, how you're supposed to advance, and the best stepping stones forward. And people take that wise, profound, high dimensional information, wisdom, as an option.
Oof. I literally don't understand that. And like these poor guys, man. Are you kidding me? Wow.
Yeah.
I would be a horrible guide. I would like smack the shit out of everyone. Like, you heard me, bam.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be your tomato.
Nope, nope.
I wonder if we're going to be able to ever have free will planets again after this experience.
Oh gosh. Ugh, I don't even know if I like that word. Ugh. Yeah,
Well, if you
yikes.
watch the new Matrix, you will have to question whether we have free will or destiny and which is the most prevalent.
Yes, I've watched a recap of second movie. I'm gonna watch it. You totally motivated me. I was unsure. Like if it turned into the take a blue pill thing, I was like, I'd like throw the TV against the wall. So I need someone else to watch it to give me the go ahead.
Well, I think it's interesting the concepts once again, and I feel like it does touch on what we are working on, sort of. It is entertainment, it's a movie, but yeah, I don't know. It's what all the cool kids are watching right now, so I thought we could talk about it. But anyway, well, let's go because we can talk for hours, and I know my kids want to go outside and do some pool stuff, so trying to keep
Oh,
quiet.
beautiful.
Yeah, wow, it's almost summer here. It's supposed to be summer, but it's pretending to be miserable and grey.
Mm, I hear you. Well, you go enjoy your day. It was great catching up.
Yeah, it's always good. And thank you to the clients that I overshared your personal information with everyone. It's a learning curve and experience. And so I do appreciate all the wisdom that I get to hear and know from these private sessions. But I also know that all the information is so profound and it gives me so much great joy and hope that I do love sharing as much wisdom and information as I can, which is from the sessions. I try not to have too much of a I mean I am fully judgy and I love to laugh, but I do take this profound wisdom seriously and responsibly, and I'm doing the best I can to apply it myself.
Rock on, sis.
I love you all, even those ones who have bad behavior sometimes.
Yep. Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye.